So maybe now we start, I don't continue now with the lecture, we will start, if you agree, with the discussion from the notebook. Is somebody there who was not there yesterday? Not too many, but a few. But I have some photos here, and maybe we put on the projector. Or are there some questions concerning, maybe it's the better way, concerning the film yesterday?
No.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Are there some questions?
Hello.
Yeah. Where are you?
Here.
Okay.
Concerning the film yesterday, generally the cinematography style, I noticed that there was a very how to say that? Anyway, that you were influenced by painting, for example, in the handling of light and color, and for example, a lot of images reminded me of, for example, Vermeer's paintings and all this Flamandic style painting. And I would like you to tell us a few things about how did you handle this, and which were your influences, and how do you conceive the relationship between painting and cinematography?
A lot of questions. No, that with Vermeer I hear often, of course, and the truth is, at first I have nothing against Vermeer, but you don't go on the set and say, let's do a Vermeer now. But if you go in the Hungarian countryside, in a very small, poor farmer house, you have Vermeer. Even by, by the natural light. So it comes more from that. But I'm not against it. I like it. It's okay. You could destroy it with lighting, that's true. Or you could change the style. But in which direction? You have a small room, very low ceilings, very small windows, Vermeer. Or the Flemish style. So, but nevertheless, I love painters, of course, and I learned a lot of them. I still learn from them concerning to make light, or how they observed light. And as far as I can see, they did nothing else what we do. They observed natural light. And then the way to exaggerate or control the atmospheres makes your style. But to learn how natural light behaves is the most important thing. That's what they did. That's what we should do. But you don't go on the set and say, now I do a Vermeer and who else?
Rembrandt.
Caravaggio or whatever, yeah. I love very much the Impressionists, because they were in the beginning of 1900, they were kind of Nouvelle Vague in the paintings. And their way they were very criticized and not at all accepted at the beginning, because they had no subjects. The critics, they said, what's that? It's a woman sitting under a tree. So they changed our perception with their interpretation of reality. And that's what I love. And I think it's, we cannot imitate painter, it's senseless and stupid. Because we have a lens which is called objective. So that's why I'm not a fan of filters, for example. I need so many filters for my life, I'm happy to use not one in front of the lens. I'll just show you a few painters. It's a large subject. It's another one I discovered quite late. He was obsessed by light, and it's Hammershot. I just changed program. You agree? Look a little to the painters?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is Wilhelm Hammershot. He lived too around 1900 he was a Danish guy, Copenhagen, and he was obsessed. You can put down the light, please.
Yeah, it's happening.
He was obsessed to observe light, and he was obsessed to do everything only in his flat. He had one big crisis because he had to change the flat once in his life, and that means his location changed. And you see, he did studies like that way. Let us just study what light makes, and if you take care how precise he observes the multiple reflections in the room. This is the main thing. It's the incoming light is simple. It's the sunbeam comes inside. But how he, for example, here on the ceiling, you see, all that details. It's so minimalistic, but in the same time very rich. And the second obsession he had was the neck of his wife, which is a nice obsession. But you see, here he changed because the light comes more direct on the floor, and the floor reflection gives the lighting for this. What I learned from that painter is I try to do not destroy the defects. That means I try to have never a second lamp on the set, except, I mean, it's no fundamentalism, but no dogma. But if you put the light here in the room somewhere, it would destroy all the defects.
Excuse me, when was this painted? When was it painted?
I don't know the years, I don't know if I noted it down, but it's around beginning 1900. You see, he was just he just did variations from different light situations. And what you can learn too from painters, and even costume designers and art directors can learn that, is the handling of the backgrounds. Not only the color, but even the contrast range, in fact. And what a painter can do and do not, to focus your regard, to lead your regard by focusing. And he has always, just pick up my laser pointer. He always puts in his set, and that we can imitate. You have something shiny or reflecting in the set, you give a kind of a point of brilliancy. It's the same sharpness than the rest, but it seems to be sharper. And of course the balance between in and out, right? Which was a big subject in the notebook, because I will show you later, I was keen on it to have always the view outside, to see the exact, if we had to fake the wind today or something. You see, here again. And the figures are, let's say, unsharp, just the wrong expression for an image for a painter. And how he was handling the shadows and everything. Each detail is really, really well worked out. And there I'm obsessive too. Then we can really write on them. Just go to for example, a night candlelight. Would be lucky to make a light like that. It's quite difficult. And of course he makes a self-portrait and the rest of the faces are disappearing. That's the freedom of a painter. But the light, not bad. Or this one, you know, it's to have a fill light, to create fill light is the most difficult thing for me. Especially in a studio, where you have just a black box, you don't have any existing light like another original location. So you cannot add something, you have to build up to create the basic, and this is very, very difficult often. I would be very happy to be able to make that light. Harris, you agree?
Oh, that's just stunning. Absolutely. And so difficult to
Yeah.
do so well, so subtly.
Or to trust your subject. It leads always to a fight with the art director, with a bad art director, who wants to fill up the location with gadgets and gondolieri from Venezia, or apples for Christmas. And what is really remarkable with nearly all painters, they never use trim light. And I feel it is a sickness in our profession to have to feel obliged to make permanent trim light. I don't know, it comes from the old too slow material. It's the only answer I find. But it's still very common. And you see how beautiful it is to handle the space only by contrasts or, by contrasts in fact. Okay, we don't fall in all the painters, it's just a part of my answer to your question, and maybe some impressionists who complete it. You see, that Cézanne, he was, they find over 80 pictures from one and the same mountain. And he was never tired to make the same motif in all different seasons and light situations. So patience is a helpful tool. For example, this is a nice Monet. To create a summer day like that, for me it's a summer afternoon in garden behind the house, and they have it much, much more difficult than we, because they have as a contrast, a dynamic range, they have only their white and black, which is a very, very small range compared to what we can do, even if our range is smaller than what the eye can do. But as the brain replaces information and builds up if you know a summer day like that, it's evoked by this, and it works only because the contrast between the shady parts and the sunny parts, it's so well done. Okay, back to the questions. And please close the projector again and the light on, please. So I hope it's okay that answer. I only wanted to show you that to demonstrate the influence. And I'm not shy, it's not a shame to confess that kind of influence is a big quality.